Today, we're going to be talking about a pretty rough situation involving Sneako, Jake Future, which is the guy that you're going to be seeing with Sneako for a majority of the video, and a ton of other streamers. And before we get into it, half the reason I wanted to make this video is because I try to be as fair as possible on this channel, and no matter how much I really don't like someone, it'd kinda be unfair to only talk about their negatives. Which is why, even though I'm not really a big fan of really anything Sneako does or says for the most part, I do have to give him credit where it is due because he did just catch a major W recently, which for anyone that knows anything about Sneako is pretty rare. But getting into it, Jake Future is a disabled streamer, and I'm not exactly sure what disabilities that he has, but he obviously has some sort of mental disability, and this is going to play a big part in the story. But recently, he decided that he wanted to throw a big party for his 27th birthday, and for that party, he invited a ton of different streamers that not only has he been on their streams before, but he was also friends with, or at least thought he was friends with, because not a single person that he invited showed up except for Sneako. And we're going to take a look at one of the first clips that I seen about this situation, and sorry for the music in the background, it was ripped from TikTok, so I can't really do anything about that.
Tommy, how come you didn't come, bro? Tommy, he sent you the invite. I got the same flyer. You didn't come. Wow. He didn't even, bro, he didn't even reply. He didn't even reply to the birthday. Oh. I don't know. No, none of them came? I thought you only invited me.
No, I invited no.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I was invited no.
Excuse, you didn't want to come?
I didn't. No activity. Everybody, Tommy, everybody
No way, bro.
You were
Show me. Okay.
So like you've seen there, like I said, this guy clearly has some sort of mental disability, and I'm not sure exactly what it is, but all I know is that he doesn't have the same mental capacity as your average adult, which is really the main reason that makes this situation that much worse. Because you have all these different streamers that have had him on his stream before, acted like they were friends with him and everything like that, and when it's actually time to be his friend and show up for him, literally nobody except for Sneako did. And you can see in this clip, Sneako is also realizing that he wasn't the only one that was invited. He invited basically everyone that he's been on stream with before and has acted like his friend. Los, XQC, Aiden, and a ton of other people. And Sneako's reaction almost seems kinda fake, but putting yourself in his shoes, it's 100% believable that he probably genuinely thought he was the only one invited because he's the only one that showed up. And this is really just super fucked up and absolutely pathetic from all these other streamers. Because with a situation like this, all this really shows is how scummy the rest of these streamers are and how they just blatantly use him for better public image and money. Because when he's on their streams, they typically get more donations with a bunch of different people basically just making fun of this guy because he's disabled, which really makes it that much worse. Not only are you profiting off of him and his disability and making your public image look better by acting like you're his friend, but you also know that a ton of your fans are gonna donate money solely so they can make fun of this guy. And I also just want to point out right quick that I know most of you can probably already tell that they obviously weren't his real friends and they were probably just using him for a better public image or whatever, but like you already saw, this guy is clearly mentally disabled and he probably can't really tell the difference between when someone's acting like his friend for personal gain versus someone being your actual genuine friend. But there's another clip here that I also want to take a look at of Sneako pretty much talking about everything that happened after the event was over.
Just got back from Jersey. That wasn't that bad of a drive, about 40 minutes. And my assistant's saying not to say this, but I have to say it. That blew my mind, seeing no streamer not only not show up, because I understand it's in, it's out the way, but not even respond to his birthday invite. And it's not even anyone specific. Some people are singling out like the people that he collabs with frequently, but Jake messaged every streamer. I think he mentioned it. Everybody that he's met with at the mall and who's been like, oh, Jake, or like give him hugs and everything like that in public on camera. But not only did they not show up, which I get they're busy, but they didn't even text him back. when he sends a flyer and an invitation. And I was telling my assistant, the crazy part is, I know how difficult it is for Jake to even send a message. For him to unlock his phone, to press in the photos, to send, that takes him 10 times, 100 times the effort that it takes us. And that's a small inconvenience of our life, sending a text. For him, it's genuine effort. It's not as easy for him to do it as us.
Now, I know I already gave Sneako his credit earlier, but I just gotta pause it right quick to really give him props. He's genuinely hitting all of the points here. Because right there, he also pointed out one of the major issues that I really have with this, and that's not even necessarily that nobody showed up. Because sure, even though he invited like a ton of different people, and it is still kind of outrageous that no one showed up, I do kind of understand it for some people because maybe they're busy and don't have the time, maybe the transportation isn't easy for them, or whatever other plethora of excuses. Really, the problem that makes this even a situation at all is the fact that none of them even responded. And like I said, sure, I could understand maybe you're not able to make it, but not even responding and at least letting this guy know, like, hey, happy birthday, but I'm not gonna be able to make it because of insert reason here, is just absolutely disgusting. And that's literally just the bare minimum, just responding to the guy that you consider your friend. I also like how Sneako actually addresses his disability here and how he understands that even something as simple as sending a text becomes a whole process for this guy, which means he also probably took hours out of his day to come up with this birthday flyer and actually personally send everybody these messages. And another thing I want to point out right quick before we continue with the clip is kind of on the topic of maybe they couldn't make it or something like that, and sure, depending on your reason, I do think that is a valid excuse. It's just that I don't think most of these streamers that he invited actually had a valid reason to not show up other than they don't fuck with him. Because I'm just thinking that, imagine if it was someone like Kai Cenat sending them the same message. They'd literally be there that day, so I really don't think that's that great of an excuse either, but whatever.
Right? And they're all just ignoring it. All of them. He showed me his phone. He sent the same flyer that I got to the entire industry. None of them replied. Not even a reply. Not even a happy birthday. Like, that was like a dystopian. I've been streaming for 2 years. This is another reason why I'm starting Project X and why I'm going to the vlogs. Because the industry's fake, people know that. But this is dark. Dark. People message me like when I hung out with Jake in Miami, like, oh, you hung out with them in Miami first, I was gonna take him out. They had the opportunity to, and they said nothing. This is a evil world we live in.
Now, like I said earlier, I'm not a big fan of Sneako or most of the stuff that he says or does, but when it comes down to it, it seems like the one good thing that he does have going for him is that he's real. And even though that does hurt him a lot of the time because he ends up dying on a hill that he really shouldn't even be fighting for, it is still a good trait regardless, because all this situation really showed is how many of these streamers are just straight up fake and only doing everything for views and money, which most people already knew. It's just that they didn't know the extent that they were doing it to, because most people probably wouldn't assume that the streamers that they actually enjoy watching, are popular, and they look up to would just blatantly use a disabled guy for money and personal image gain. And I also want to bring up that I try to look at these situations from all angles, and kind of going back to Sneako being real, throughout this situation I was even kind of thinking that maybe even Sneako showed up to boost his public image or whatever, but judging it based on what actually happened at the event itself and Sneako's past, I truly don't believe that he's doing this just to make himself look better, because like I said before, he's fought so many losing battles before just to not betray someone that he was cool with. And one of the main examples of that is Andrew Tate. He was literally a ride or die for him basically throughout his entire run, even when everyone else was talking shit about him. I also wanted to show you just one last picture that really puts this all into perspective of how fucked up and really just sad this is, that the only people to show up to this party were Sneako, obviously Jake Future, and his camera crew. And it's a picture right here of them showing part of the whole venue that he rented out and set up a ton of different tables, had a bunch of other stuff going on in hopes that a ton of his friends would show up, and of course, no one but Sneako did. But with that all said, I would say that I'm sorry if I basically called your your favorite streamer in this video a trashy person, whether that be XQC, Aiden Ross, Los, or any of the other people that he invited to this party, but I can't really be sorry about the truth. And just because I'm saying that they're just generally bad people doesn't mean that they're not funny or entertaining. There's no arguing that they're entertaining. It just so happens that most of them are also self-centered, greedy, narcissistic assholes. But with that said, that's pretty much it on this situation, and if you liked the video at any point, make sure to drop a sub or else I won't be showing up to your birthday party. But I'm not gonna hold y'all for too long, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.